Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent from Goal, back again to do another one of these little videos just to update you on things, talk a little bit about Arsenal, and just trying to get you through the week really. I'm sure you're all like me, locked up in your houses like this, looking out longingly outside at the blue sky, wishing we could get back out there, wishing we were sort of looking forward to what must be around FA Cup semi-final week, or would be normally, which hopefully Arsenal will be in whenever the season does get back underway. But instead we're all locked up in these houses and looking longingly out there. But hopefully this video will give you at least a sort of 10-minute bit of respite from it, and we'll hopefully update you on a few things. First of all, I hope you're well. Anyway, I hope you're keeping yourself sane and you're healthy, and your family are healthy and everything like that. And like I said, you're getting through the week as best as you can. So, Arsenal, what's been going on? Well, first of all, not too much, I have to say, apart from a few players breaking social distancing rules, which I'm sure you've probably seen in the last 24 hours or so. A bit of a ticking off from the club for a few of the players. Stupidly, really. So, Granit Xhaka was out with David Luiz doing a little bit of training in a park. Nicolas Pepe went out with a few mates and started playing football. And who else? Someone else was involved. I can't remember who it was now. Another one of the players was Alexander Lacazette. Yeah, of course, he had someone around to clean his car on his driveway and was pictured standing closer than your 2 meters away from the guy who was valeting the car. So Arsenal ticked them off a little bit. They reminded all the players of their responsibilities, as you can imagine they would have done after those pictures emerged in the press. Stupid, really. We've seen it before. We've seen it with Tottenham players so far during this during the shutdown. It's just surely they can make do without seeing each other for a while and to stay at home. It doesn't set the best examples when you're a player of that sort of magnitude and you got that sort of publicity behind you. You should probably be doing what you were supposed to do and stay inside. If we can do it, they can do it. But anyway, they've been reprimanded. Arsenal have reminded them all of their responsibilities, and hopefully that'll be the last time we see Arsenal players plastered over the press. For what's going on during the lockdown. But that's one of the sort of little bits of news today that came out from the club. Obviously, since last time we spoke, the club have agreed the wage cuts with the players, 12.5%. A few players not involved in that, haven't decided to. Mesut Ozil, one of them, the highest paid earner, doesn't look great on Ozil. Certainly generated a lot of headlines, given he's on 350 grand a week, and other players have agreed to the wage cut. He hasn't. I thought some of the criticism was unfair. I think you might have seen a piece I wrote about it during the week that went out on Goal about it, a bit of an opinion piece. Really, I just thought it's a little bit unfair on Mesut. It's not quite as simple. Obviously, it looks bad. It looks terrible. But I think you've got to kind of look at it in different sort of ways. Look, we don't know how Mesut's business interests, because he's got business interests outside Arsenal. We don't know how they're handling what's going on at the moment. He's also does so much for charity. Not that really intertwines with this. I mean, he does loads of charity work. Everyone knows that. He's paid for surgeries for children over in Brazil. He's done it when him and his wife got married. Paid for children again, about 1,000 children, I think, to have surgeries across the world. So he does an awful lot, Mesut Ozil. I know for a fact that every single week, up in his executive box at the Emirates during match days, he's got people up there. He's got children up there, who are unfortunately dying because of various diseases. I mean, he does a lot of good work with the Rays of Sunshine charity, which sort of grants children wishes and things. It's very, very sick children wishes, and Mesut's really involved in all of that, and he's constantly doing what he can to help people. So he's not some sort of football mercenary, far from it. He uses his money to good use, but obviously this is an Arsenal-related thing, and while he does good things for his charities, a lot of Arsenal fans question why he can't protect the club at this point, because it's that club that's paying him handsomely, and it's a club that needs his help at the moment because their revenue streams are dried up. But I don't. As far as I'm aware, Mesut Ozil hadn't rejected out of hand the possibility of taking a wage cut. He's open to it. He just wants a little bit of more time. And he's not the only one. There's a few other Arsenal players in that squad who have also rejected it. They weren't criticised. I know their names haven't come out in the public domain yet, but it's just Ozil's name who's come out. It's been put out there, and I just feel it's a little bit harsh. I think people are rushing in a little bit to it, because you've got to remember, no one else in the Premier League's agreed wage cuts yet. There's been a few clubs that have agreed wage deferrals, but no one's agreed wage cuts. Only Arsenal have done that. And so there's hundreds and hundreds of Premier League players who so far aren't agreeing wage cuts. So why Mesut Ozil's getting absolutely hammered for it, I think it's just a little bit harsh. And I think we've got to just wait a little bit, have a little bit of patience, because Ozil, like I said, as far as I'm aware, he's not rejected the prospect of it out of hand. He just wants to learn a little bit more about, where the money's going to be going, how it's going to be being used, and he just didn't want to rush into anything. So I just felt it was a little bit harsh, some of the criticism that came Mesut Ozil's way, especially from Piers Morgan, but who shamed him on Good Morning Britain in front of millions of viewers, which I just thought was bang out of order. But it's Piers Morgan, so what do you expect? But anyway, enough of that. Enough of that's been covered during the week, and like I said, I've wrote an opinion piece on it on Goal. And if you haven't read it, you just head over to my Twitter account, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find it at Charles_Watts, or go on to goal.com and have a look, and you'll find it on there. And that was my views on it were kind of expressed in it. Another big thing that's come from Arsenal, excuse me right now, I want to just type on my laptop because it's locked while I've been speaking to you, and I need to have a read of something. But another big bit of news really that came out, or certainly something that's generated an awful lot of chatter amongst Arsenal and amongst social media, are comments made by Thomas Partey's father. Partey obviously is a midfielder at Atletico Madrid, a very, very fine midfielder, and he's a player that Arsenal are interested in. It's not really too much of a secret. Atletico Madrid are aware of it. Partey and his representatives are aware of it. There was a little bit of interest last summer from Arsenal. It didn't really go anywhere. A, because of the price tag, and B, because the player's pretty settled in Madrid. But he's got a release clause of £44 million, 50 million euros. And, all the time that release clause is there, it's generating more and more speculation. And, the Arsenal interest is there. Like I said, people know about it. It's genuine. And his father was talking on a radio show in Ghana, where they're from, during this week. You've probably seen the quotes. If you haven't seen the quotes, I'll just read them to you now. Jacob Partey, like I said, Thomas's father, said, "I called my son after hearing the rumours, and he told me that the rumours are true. He told me they're holding talks between him and Arsenal. It all depends on the offer Atletico are demanding. If he goes to Arsenal, fine. They have a lot of supporters in Ghana. I will be happy if he decides to move to Arsenal. What they are discussing now is how Atletico will release him." So they're the comments of Thomas Partey's father. Obviously, they got picked up everywhere, shared on social media. Arsenal Twitter went crazy, as you would expect. And suddenly everyone's thinking, oh, Thomas Partey's going to come to Arsenal. It's going to be happening. It's going to be happening. So I thought I'd just come on here and talk about this. I've mentioned in a couple of my videos, certainly on one a couple of weeks ago previously, that about Arsenal's interest in Partey. It is there, like I say, it stretches back a fair while, when Arsenal do want to sign a central midfielder this summer. Obviously, there's doubts over Lucas Torreira's future. He's wanted back in Italy. Granit Xhaka was very close to leaving in January. He didn't, because Arteta convinced him to stay, but whether that's a long-term outlook of Xhaka, we don't really know. Dani Ceballos, who was, at the time of the suspension of football because of coronavirus, was Xhaka's preferred partner in midfield, certainly Arteta's preferred option. He seems to have settled on that midfield pairing of Xhaka and Ceballos, but Ceballos is going back to Real Madrid in the summer. We all know that. It's not going to be a permanent deal for Arsenal. So they are looking to bring someone in, and Partey, as far as I'm aware, is very much high up on that list. So I thought I'd just talk about it and what this all means to you. Unfortunately, in my view, and from what I've learned from speaking to a few people about the situation, about Arsenal's potential to do transfer business this summer, I think it's an unlikely one. I wouldn't rule it out entirely. There is a possibility that Arsenal could still qualify for the Champions League, obviously, and if they did that, then that might well allow them to do this sort of business, especially if they don't make any, real big transfers in terms of selling. And they could sell some money to bring some players in, sell some big players. To bring in some money. I talked about Torreira. I talked about Xhaka. There's a few others, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, people like that, who they could look to bring in. Lacazette potentially, and there is the link between Lacazette and Atletico Madrid, so maybe that could be something that could play into Arsenal's favour. There are some options there, but as far as I'm aware, I just think financially, Arsenal are really, really going to feel the pinch of what's going on with football at the moment. It's almost difficult to talk about transfers right now because there's so much uncertainty about the transfer market, about what funds are going to be available, because no one knows at the moment if the season's going to end. We all expect it to. They will eventually get it done behind closed doors at some point, but we don't know that for certain yet. And as I've mentioned on these videos before, Arsenal's revenue streams have completely dried up. Not just Arsenal's, everyone's, but Arsenal's key revenue streams, match day income, which generates 24% of their annual revenue, has gone. This is a time when season ticket money would usually be flooding in for next season. That isn't happening. They haven't even gone on general sale yet, season tickets. There's just a little trickle coming in from club level, but that's it. So that money, which normally would be being banked now by Arsenal, is not coming in. And plus, they're going to have to play out millions, up to about 10 to 12 million in refunds for the games they will play behind closed doors between now and the end of the season, whenever that is, that fans have already paid for with their season tickets. They're going to have to pay that money back. So they're going to be losing money. Rather than bringing money in, they're going to be losing money. It's not just for this season. I don't think anyone, certainly in the game, is expecting next season to start whenever it does start with fans in the stadium. People are talking about, fans might not be allowed in until 2021. That's 6 months down the line, 7 months down the line. That's huge, huge revenue that would be lost for Arsenal. Massive revenue. When you think it comes for a quarter of it. And there's also the threat of, if the season isn't finished, then clubs will have to pay back massive amounts of money to the broadcasters, over £700 million, because those broadcasters have already paid for the season for all the matches to be shown. So it's just, there's so much financial uncertainty for Arsenal, and no one's expecting it to be a big transfer window. You speak to anyone who knows anything about the transfer window. You speak to agents who are in the game, who are looking at potential deals this summer. You looked at just experts in the field, people who I've spoken to have been very much involved in football for a long time and in the transfer market and in getting deals done. They think, I've had someone say to me, they reckon it might be sort of 60% down in terms of transfer business this summer, just because no one's going to have any cash. There are going to be some clubs who will be able to take advantage of the situation, so there will be some money spent. But realistically, you're looking at levels sort of well below half the money that you'd usually see spent in the summer transfer window, because everyone's going to be feeling the pinch. And like I said, Arsenal especially will be feeling that pinch. And so just for me to get this deal done for Partey, I would be surprised, even though he's got, before this, the whole coronavirus pandemic, a £44 million release clause, which is what he's got. It feels gettable. It would be gettable for Arsenal, but with how things stands and, like I said, the financial uncertainty, I just think it'd be a surprise. And there's also, you got to factor in the fact that Atletico Madrid do not want to lose him. They see him as a key influential figure in their team, especially since Rodri's gone to Manchester City. He's become an integral part of Diego Simeone's side in the heart of midfield. You look at the numbers, the stats he serves up, they're so impressive. So you can understand why Arsenal wants him, but you can also understand why Atletico want to keep him. There are talks over a new contract at the moment. There are some sceptics out there who think that basically Partey's father's comments have just been put out there just to sort of push Atletico into action, really, to make sure that new contract gets done. I've spoken to people in Spain today who believe that contract will get done and that he will stay, that he has no wish to leave. Atletico want to keep him, and that a new deal will get done. And when that deal does take place, his release clause will be set far higher than the £44 million that it currently is at. And if that happens, obviously that's it. Bang, Arsenal out the equation. They're not going to be spending any more money than that. And, Partey will be staying at Atletico for a long time. So there's just a lot of factors in this. As exciting as those quotes were that when they came out from Thomas Partey's father, I think you have to look further into it and just think it's a difficult one for Arsenal to get done because of a lot of reasons, mainly the money situation, and also the fact that Atletico really want to keep him, and that certainly sources from Spain suggest that he will end up signing a new contract. But just quickly going through the numbers, I mean, you can see why he keeps him. He's such a good all-round midfielder, Partey. We saw it in their game against Liverpool at Anfield. He was fantastic, and you sort of look at it, his tackles, 2.49 successful tackles a game, 8.17 ball recoveries. This is per 90 minutes of starts this season. An aerial dual success rate of 67.7%. Really impressive. I think behind Thiago at Bayern Munich, he is, let me just get this right, in Europe's top 5 leagues, he's the only player Thiago is the only player out of the 242 players in Europe's top 5 leagues to have attempted more than 50 take-ons with a higher success rate than Partey. So that just goes, the stats I mentioned before, excellent in defence, excellent at winning the ball back, excellent at aerial duels, but he's also great with the ball at his feet. He runs with it exceptionally well, as that stat just suggests there. He can dictate the play like Granit Xhaka. He can read the play like Lucas Torreira and break it up, and when he's got the ball at his feet, he can run with it, and he can do what Dani Ceballos does with it. So he sort of ticks all the boxes for Arsenal. He would be an exceptional signing. But, and apologies for it again, as I said earlier on, I just think it would be a difficult one for Arsenal to do. I'm not ruling it out by any means. Like I said, he might not sign his new contract. Arsenal might go on and qualify for the Champions League, and then who knows, they might well go and get this deal done because they do like him and they want to sign in a central midfielder. But as far as I'm concerned, as it stands at the moment, and if Arsenal don't go on and qualify for the Champions League, I just think it might be a step too far for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. So apologies for ending out on a fairly depressing note if that's what I've done, but I thought I'd just come on and share my views on it. And yeah, like I said, next week I'll be back and doing another one of these videos. I haven't done a Q&A for a while, so I might put out a question at the beginning of next week on my social media channels asking for any of you to send in your views, send in your comments, send in your questions, and I'll pop back on here at some point during next week and do a bit of a Q&A and try and answer any questions that you may have. So until then, thank you very much for watching. My last couple of videos have been by far my most views, so I really appreciate that, and my subscribers are going up as well. Once again, I really do appreciate that, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do knock that little button down there, wherever it is, subscribe button, and I will try and keep you as updated as I possibly can on Arsenal. And like I said, in each of these videos, when it finally, this shutdown finally does end and we get back to kind of normality, and I'm back at Arsenal in and around the training ground, I'll hopefully do a lot more of these videos and provide a little bit of insight into what it's like covering the wonderful North London club. So until then, stay safe everyone, speak to you soon.